All right. Happy Friday. How is everybody? We are on day 5 of our 5-day water fast. I've been telling you all week that I have an amazing guest here joining me. I'm going to let him take the floor. Give me just a few minutes to introduce who he is and why this is a person that I brought in. As you know, we've been doing a 5-day water fast. Some of you are on day 3. Some of you are on day 7. Water is essential to life. So we can live for, as you know, and anybody that's listening to me and is following me, we can live for 30, 40. There's even been people that have lived for up to a year without food. However, you cannot go that long without water. You cannot live that long. He probably knows better than I do, but I think it's just a few days without water. I know we have a thing called dry fasting where we don't eat or drink, but water is crucial to life. And a huge part of my wellness mission, my Pura Vida Pure Life mission, is pure water. And I believe very strongly in pure water. And I also believe very strongly that as we take responsibility for the water that we drink and stop buying plastic bottled water, we can make a change on the planet. So Kirk is here. He's from Water Revolution. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for 7 years now. I've been using his products, his purification units that he'll be able to speak much, much better about than I can for the last 7 years. And I don't know what I would do without his purification systems that I have in my clinics, in my home. They've been a lifesaver for me. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Kirk Phinney from Water Revolution. Kirk, take it away.
Well, thanks a lot, Dr. CJ, for that kind introduction. And, water is a very interesting thing because, like many people I'm sure on the line today, I grew up in Long Island, New York. My dad was a dentist. We had a great education, and we were taught, all through that time in New York that, water was water, and we had the best water in New York because, it came out of the city and it was loaded with fluoride, which was excellent, for your teeth and all the different chemicals, kept the bacteria out. And this was kind of the mantra, growing up. In fact, we often talked about how great the bagels were from Brooklyn because they were made with this water, and the baked goods were so, significant and special. I mean, it was a whole big deal about it. And then as I got older, we learned that, water could be contaminated. There were instances where industrial runoff would get into the water. And then we found out kind of in the 80s, not that long ago, that the chlorine was actually bad, for your body, and that it was going to be necessary to try to filter that out. And, it became all about, disinfection and keeping the contaminants away and keeping the water as clean as possible. And then as I got older and I got more involved with health and wellness, I bought a big rural property here in North Carolina. We've got 3 different wells on our property. Each well has water that's worse than the previous one. It's got the high iron, the manganese. It smells like rotten eggs with the sulfur. We've got the agricultural chemical runoff from all the tobacco farming. You can imagine what the atrazine and round. Every time something comes out that talks about a bad chemical or contaminant, we actually find it in our well water. So when I bought the property in 1999, I needed to get into the water mentality. I was always in building and construction, but I actually built a water treatment plant on the property so that we could actually do laundry without it turning into plywood boards on the line.
Oh my
And
gosh.
the appliances would turn orange. I mean, you couldn't drink it at all.
Wow.
And so we built this plant, and so I got kind of introduced to it that way, and I was really kind of enamored with it. I'd already done plumbing and electric along with the carpentry and the engineering, and I have quite a construction background. So I was very interested and intrigued by it. And then I come to find out, round about, I guess it was 2007, that there actually is a way to make water healthier by what they call ionization. There's a way to ionize or microcluster the water, which depending on how you do it can also add alkalinity. And I found out that, drinking a pH water that has a higher than neutral, pH can be very beneficial in the body because there's been studies that have shown that it's very difficult for illnesses to really take hold in a high pH environment. And, the other way is to get on the, pure wellness diet where you can eat just leafy greens and all that. And that's great. And that'll help alkalize your body as well. But if you're drinking a lot of acidic beverages, it's obviously going to fight, against that. So alkaline water can be a real blessing for a lot of people, but there's actually two kinds of alkaline water. There's alkaline water that's produced with this electronic method, called a water ionizer, where there's actually an electrolysis chamber in this typically countertop, could be under counter, but most of them are countertop. It's like an electrolysis chamber where the tap water runs through usually a very small water filter, and then runs through this electrolysis chamber, which splits the water into two streams, one alkaline, one acidic, and you typically drink the alkaline water for health. And then they claim that you can use, the acidic water for house cleaning, but nobody ever does. I know because we co-owned a company where we sold thousands of these systems over a 2-year span. And most people,
I had that system before I met you and before I switched over to what you offer, because I wasn't happy with the waste product and I was not happy at all. And I knew that filtration was not enough.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's really typically designed to keep rocks and sand, out of the electronic components. It does do a good job of reducing chlorine. There's enhanced filters that some companies make that do an even better job. But, look, I can take any product in the world into a laboratory and I can do a lab test on that product one day, one time, with specific samples, and I can get pretty much any result, that I want to out of that. It's like a politician, in Washington. They can take any test or any study, make it turn any way they want. And both sides are often right because of how the data can be, manipulated. The only way that I know to really be sure that you're removing all of the contaminants, including a lot of the insidious chemicals, is through what we call reverse osmosis purification. Now, reverse osmosis is a no-no with these water ionizers, because the water ionizers, the electric ones, they require mineral content in the water in order to function. No minerals in the water, no ionization, no alkalinity. They can't work without minerals. And a lot of the insidious chemicals like the fluorides and, the atrazine and the rocket fuel in California. And what was the famous movie that was done with the chromium-6? What was her name?
Erin Brockovich.
There you go.
I just watched a short documentary on her last night.
Right. And all this stuff does not get removed anyway, except for reverse osmosis. The problem is the reverse osmosis water, left to its own volition, is very, very acidic. It can actually destroy and ruin plumbing and appliances over time and distance. Very acidic in the body. I think it's contributing to the lack of oxygen in the body over time and distance. Great for purification, bad for us to drink over time and distance. So we created a device in 2010 called the Alka Purity, which is, I'm going to see if I can show a picture of it here. This is live in my little home studio. So this is what this system looks like. And it's actually designed to mount directly under typically the kitchen sink. Some people put in a laundry room. Some people are located in a basement and they pump the water up to their kitchen, which is another great thing to do if you can do it. And just phenomenal system, because it uses the power of that RO engine to completely purify the water. And then we remake it into alkaline antioxidant water using our proprietary filtration. And we created something we call the energized media solution back in 2010 when we started Water Revolution. There's nothing else like it on the market. It's a proprietary mix. And what happens, it creates an alkaline antioxidant water that carries a negative electrical charge, so it will mimic the response in the body that you find from a fast-moving mountain stream or a fresh organic deep spring. And this is the water that the body wants to drink. This, according to a lot of the data, a lot of the studies, there's been nothing short of 3 science Nobel Prizes awarded in the last 25 years that deal specifically with what we call the structure of water, which is the way that those water molecules intertwine and form with one another. In fact, we call it water information, because the molecules become in formation. And so when you drink the RO water in the bottle, when you drink the tap water out of the tap, when you drink the distilled water, you're drinking water that is not in formation. And the body has to doctor that with varied processes in order to get it to work as biowater that the body uses in its cells. And we know, CJ, from your trainings and teachings, how important it is for the nutrients and toxins to move through the cell membranes without difficulty. And this water actually helps that happen. And that's why it can be so significant. So a lot of doctors use this water as part of a wellness or weight loss program. We recommend it, obviously, to everybody that we speak to. We sell about 15 different types of pieces of equipment that we build at Water Revolution. The Alka Purity HD, which is the residential model, is by far our most popular. There's not a day goes by that a couple of them at least don't go out. And it's really taken on a life of its own. And it's because you're getting a price point that is substantially below even the bad quality electric units, because the electric units can go anywhere, from $800 all the way up to about $5,000, depending on, what marketing you subscribe to.
Yeah, the one I had was $4,000.
Right, right. Which is a great piece of equipment. The problem is ours does a better job at less than a quarter of the price. And it's built in, it's under the counter. It comes, as you see here, with a separate faucet. It's a beautiful, modern contemporary faucet. We offer that in many different faucet finishes to match what you have now. And it's actually a pretty easy system to put in. Most of it is screw connect and push connect. And it comes also with its own installation guidebook, a whole installation kit. It's got a color-coded tubing. So we're able to walk people through on the phone how to do the installation. I would say 80 or more % of these units get installed by the homeowner. And often it's a homeowner that has no experience doing it. So,
and that's the same unit that I have at home under my sink.
It is. It's remained unchanged since we introduced it. There's been other Alka Purity based units that we've introduced. We have one that has a UV light called Ultra UV for people that have objectionable well water, where they think they have a bacteria problem, or and this can add, can enhance as a double stop measure against that. We've got other units that use different vortexing technology, but the Alka Purity HD is by far, in my opinion, the best model for 99% of the people that are out there.
And that would be what most people would use if they're living in the city, they're on city water. And then what's the level of purification?
It's about 99.8.
Wow.
So it's pretty purified.
So what is it removing? What are some of the things? I know it has all these different stages that it goes through. What are the different things that are being removed as it goes through?
Well, you've got all the chemicals, the nitrates, the heavy metals. You've got the huge reduction, almost to 100% of fluoride. You've got all the disinfection compounds, the chlorine, the chloramines. You've got all the biological contaminants. You've got radioactive material, which it will also remove. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I mean, there isn't a better purification modality that you can install into your house other than what we have here with the Alka Purity HD.
Yeah, and I agree. And I've told a lot of my clients and a lot of my followers that I've always studied water, and it's always been very important to me. And before I chose to go with Water Revolution, I had been studying water and different purification units most of my life. So when I ended up going with you guys and using that unit, I had already researched out all the other companies. So when you say that there's nothing else like it, that it's proprietary, different purification that you've included, I know that for sure, because I've never seen any other company that have the different stages of purification that you have. So, and the other thing that I loved about Water Revolution and why I made the switch was because it's American owned and American produced, USA. That was huge for me. The product that I was using, I think it was made out of Japan, and nothing wrong with that, but
Sure.
I just love being able to support an American-based, a USA-based business, another entrepreneur, another self-employed person like yourself that wants to make a difference in the world. And those are the people that I want to support. I want to support those people that aren't doing it for the money. And I've always known inherently and intuitively in my heart from the very beginning with you and your wife, Kathy, that you are both filled with love and goodness, and that you're doing this for the health of it. You're not doing, you can make good money doing construction, obviously, you know that. This is about making a change on the planet.
Well, it is, and I think one of the things that's missing in our business is that personal touch. That consultation beforehand. Listen, when you're dealing with people's kitchens, there's often nothing more emotional in the house than the kitchen. A lot of people have just done a remodel. They want to do one in the future. They need to talk with somebody that has experience with that so that we can guide and direct them, because there are different installation options. There's different ways to configure the system. We talked
Yes.
about some people mounting them in the basement, which is a possibility. And you want to really, I think you want to do a pre-consult with us on the phone for that
Okay.
reason, because we can get photos, of your kitchen, of your sink. We can say, yeah, this is the way that we recommend doing this. This is how it's going to work. And the cost factor doesn't change. I mean, these units are $995. That's complete. It includes all the
Wow.
accoutrements, all the hookups. And we've even got a special deal for your clientele that we're going to offer here at the end, where you'll be able to save a good chunk of money. So we're excited about that. And I'll tell you, most of our business where we grow every year is through referrals from clients. I mean, I can't tell you how many clients we have that have 1, 2, some 3 of our systems in different locations, at the office, at the house, at the summer place. I mean, the list goes on. And that's only possible because of the support, that we give. People know that when they need me on Saturday morning at 9:00 to walk them through an installation, I'm going to be there for them. And I even include a business card with my cell phone number, in the kit that you get. So we're here for you, no matter what.
And I can personally attest to that, because I've been on the phone with you with your cell phone in my clinic, looking at the different units and getting them installed, and the cartridge changes. You've always been there, and both you and Kathy have always been extremely responsive. And I love that. I love that it's a family-owned business. Before we go on, can we talk briefly about that? You talked about the water and the mimicking of like a mountain stream. So is it true? Like, I know they have the blue zones throughout the world of people, that have lived very long. Isn't it true that a lot of those blue zones, that a lot of the common factors of those people living longer is the quality of their water?
Yeah, I think it's 2 things. I think one is they have an organic, ancient, prophecy-based diet. So they're not eating the potato chips, the Kellogg's, the other stuff that we see, the pizza, right? So I think that's a big part of it. I think the other part of it is that without exception, every one of these groups, whether it's the natives in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, or the Hunza Indians, or, the people that travel every year to the Lords of France, wherever it is, without exception, these waters are high in alkalinity. They're high in mineral content. They carry a negative electrical charge. They're microclustered. When you examine the water, it is structured in an organic, healthy structure akin to what you see in the body. When you drink this water over time and distance, the body has to work a lot less hard to use it effectively. And I think that really, more than anything, is the magic. The idea that pH water is going to immediately affect the pH of the blood, I think a lot of that is just bad marketing. I think more the case, I think the body can operate in a homeostatic way much easier with this water than it can with any other kind of water or any kind of beverage, for that matter.
So your purification unit, specifically the one that you're recommending, mimics all of those different stages and creates all of those qualities and properties that you're mentioning, correct?
It does. It's got the increased hydration. It's got the microclustering. It's got the elevated alkalinity, but not to the unsafe level. The other thing, a lot of these electric machines, people are drinking this 10 and 10.5 pH water. Look, I can take grease off my driveway with a pH 10 water. I'm not kidding. I mean, it becomes such a surfactant at that level. We've got no business drinking that. You're never going to find water in nature greater than an 8.5 in pH. And, we're typically with the alka purity at that 8.59, mark, which is where we want to be.
And then what would you say to people? Because this, I run into this sometime with clients. They'll admit to me that they're drinking tap water. And it blows my mind that there's still people out there drinking tap water because they've been told, and they've done their own research, that in a lot of ways, tap water is actually healthier and has less contaminants than bottled water.
Mm.
So how would you address that? And then what can we offer them with what you have?
Well, I can tell you that bottled water is an unregulated industry. So I can produce anything I want, stick it in a bottle, throw it on the grocery store shelf, and nobody's going to check it. Nobody's going to, I mean, some of it certainly comes with certifications, and I'm not doubting, their level of effort, but I'm just telling you it's not a regulated industry.
Okay.
And I think that there's many different types of bottled water. The biggest problem I think with bottled water is it's typically generated from pure reverse osmosis water, which we know is very acidic, has no mineral content, and for all intents and purposes is foreign to the body. I mean, you don't find purified water in nature. It's a man-made creation. That's number one. Number two, you've got the plasticide chemicals that can leach into the water. Number three, it takes more water to produce the bottle of water than the water that's in the bottle.
Is that true?
Yes. And number four, you've got this gigantic logistics footprint, this carbon footprint, because they're moving this stuff around at 8 pounds a gallon. So if you'd have told somebody 20 years ago that we'd be paying more for bottled water than we do for gasoline, we would have thought you were insane, and crazy. The amount of money that you'll save with a system like this can be thousands of dollars a year if you're buying a lot of bottled water.
For sure. So we'll talk about that in a second. I just want to quickly share. I have a theory. I don't know if you agree or not. They say we have like a water shortage, like droughts across the planet. We don't have a water shortage. It's all sitting in plastic bottles on shelves in Costco's across the planet. The water, right? It just goes back up into the clouds, rains down, goes back up, rains down. We don't have a water shortage. It's all in bottles.
I think that's part of it. I also think that, there are weather patterns.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced, that they're up to chance. I think there might be some control mechanisms at work, that feed the economy in various ways and other mechanisms. But I think that, anybody today that does not have a method to create their own healthy drinking water in their house by themselves is foolish. Because throughout eons of history, the number one way to control and herd people is through food and water control. And I think we see that now in the news. So on top of the Alka Purity, we also have another unit called a Ready Pure, which is an emergency gravity fed unit, which we also recommend everybody have, because for most people, if the electricity goes out, they no longer have tap water. And now they're forced to turn to groundwater. And when you have to turn to groundwater, you have to have a non-electric, non-pressurized system to purify that water. We've got that with Ready Pure. And so that's something that the callers, should ask about as well.
Okay. Yeah. And I know that's on the website too. So do you have slides that you want to cover?
I have a few. I'm going to move through them really quickly. I don't want to bore anybody. A lot of this deals with the science and background.
Let me add the slide. There you go.
So this was a talk that I gave about 6 months ago that was about the hidden or occulted properties of water. It's stuff dealing with water that we never learn about in school that most people don't know. So let's run through it real quick.
Okay.
I guess I have to actually change here. It's interesting because on this program you're posting, but I have to control. Okay.
There you go. Yay.
Okay. So I've got a serious background in dealing with water. I've been a certified water specialist with the WQA in the past. I did not renew with them because it did absolutely nothing for me. And it was at that point approaching about $3,000 a year. No one ever asked me about it. It never drove any business to me. And, I thought, why continue? So I never renewed, but I was at one time a CWS. Okay. I've been involved with design build contracting, high-end custom homes. We built homes for Wall Street people in the Hamptons 30 years ago that were $7 and $8 million. So you can think about what that would be today. So just serious construction background. I mean, almost like a mini engineer. I don't have a degree. I do my own drafting. I built and designed my own house and virtually every one of the 10 buildings that's on my property. So I've got some background. Also, we've been working with Energized Water almost exclusively since 2007 And what is that, 14 years? A long time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we've developed during that time many different various new equipment designs, both commercially, both for what we call point of entry, which is whole house systems. And in fact, most of the effort's been in the point of use or kitchen sink, based systems for drinking water. And we've performed and advised hundreds and hundreds of installations. So we've got a lot of experience dealing with water. There's a direct tie-in between the material world and the spiritual world that happens through water. The actual word wizard meant to be an expert with water. If you go back and look at the origins of that word, it has to do with somebody that works with water. And every time you see a science fiction movie that has to do with time travel or dimension travel, there's always some kind of water involved, a water gate, a stargate. You see this over and over again. If you look at the construction of a DNA molecule, what you're seeing, in my opinion, a fractal antenna. In other words, the DNA is meant to send and receive signals. And this could be, and I believe it is, the basis of a lot of emotional feeling, interaction that's not language, that happens between people and even with animals. And obviously, it affects the overall wellness of the body. I mean, think of this. The body by molecular count is over 99% water. So over 99% of all the molecules in the body are water molecules. Now, by weight, I mean, the body's only about 70% water, but the water molecule is so tiny that most of the molecules in the body are water molecules. So obviously, the type of water that we have access to every day is very, very important in our overall health. So if you start to look at sacred geometry, which I know a lot of people on the line today have seen, things like when you cut open a tomato, it looks like, the four chambers of a heart. When you cut open a carrot, it looks like the eye, right? We've seen this thing. You look at the workings of a seashell, right? The Fibonacci sequence and all of these things. A lot of that has to do with water too. When you look at the shapes and ways that water molecules can gather and form themselves, there's been many, many books written, The Hidden Mysteries of Water, the Japanese engineer that showed all the different water paths that molecules can take and how they can represent goodness and love and also hate, and fear and all that. It's an amazing, amazing thing when you get into it. And the other thing too is that most of energy in life and in nature is actually caused by what we call implosion, which is forces acting upon themselves, not on explosion, like what we would see in a gas engine, but more about controlling pressure and pressurizing. And all these systems that we design, take all of these different factors into account. And that's why the water can be so healthy in the body. The other thing is that, water should not exist in liquid form. It's the basis and themed in many of the sacred texts, no matter what one you're looking at. We talked about you and I being more than 99% by molecular count. And also, the water from disease cells looks markedly different and is structured markedly different than the water from healthy cells. Yeah. And then you've got things like the anti-gravity action that water takes through trees that nobody can explain. So there's a lot of things going on. The whole industry and whole concept of homeopathy is based on structured and energized water.
And that's what we use in our program, is the energized frequencies.
Yep. Until 100 years ago, that was medicine, or shortly thereafter. I mean, we didn't start to see the pharma and the allopath and all the rest of it, many of which can have great benefit, I'm sure. Yeah. I don't subscribe to it myself, but hey, I don't know everything.
Until 1930s and 40s. Before that, it was everything you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, the kind of water you have access to, very important. And then the one thing I want to take away from here is that there's been 3 Nobel Science Prizes awarded since the 90s that deal directly with structured, energized biowater. And there's been many, many books and studies written. Gerald Pollack's book, The Fourth Phase of Water, is an excellent book for those that have a science mind, where he talks about the exclusion, water and how it's different in the body than it is, in the bulk form. And that's what we've endeavored to do at Water Revolution. We've endeavored to create water equipment that creates water that's more akin to what the body uses, as opposed to what you would normally find at the tap, or certainly within the bottled purified water.
Well, I
And
love
then,
that bio water. I love that.
yeah, I do too. Yeah, well, it's so important in the cell health,
Bio water. Yeah.
which is the whole basis of a lot of your teaching in your program.
Yep.
is the nutrients and toxins being able to move more freely, through that cell membrane. And
Yeah.
and this water will enhance that, in the body. I mean, there's no question.
Absolutely.
And we talked about, you asked the question about the world's healthiest waters. They're high in pH. They carry a strong negative electrical charge. They have a high mineral value, and they have this natural organic formation, amongst their molecular components that we don't see elsewhere. So, and on top of that, I have a feeling they probably have a very clean, healthy diet, which is a big part of it. So, if you look at the purified water versus what we do at Water Revolution, the purified water has no mineral content. So it's going to show one of the tests that the salespeople use when they come into your home is they say, okay, let's take a look at the tap water. They throw a TDS test on it, which shows the total dissolved solids. And they say, look, there's a lot of solids in this water. And then they'll show you a sample of the RO water, and they'll say there's no solids. So obviously, this water is cleaner, which it is, but that doesn't make it healthier. In fact, I would argue that it's not. And a lot of people that subscribe to the tap water is fine have heard the correct saying that tap water can actually be better for you than some of the purified waters. That can actually, in my opinion, be true, depending on what chemicals are going into your tap water. The problem is none of us have any control. And we found out in the last year that even some of the municipalities don't have control. I mean, I've seen 3 or 4 instances of water municipalities being hacked online, and those adjustments being tinkered and tampered with. And the story always ends the same. Well, we caught it in time before it, caused any real damage. But think of this. I mean, we've got to have the ability in our own home to actually, create this purified, healthy water for ourselves, where we don't have to be dependent on the municipality or, in the case of a shutdown, on the government. We don't want to go out to the FEMA checkpoint to pick up bottled water, if we can help it. That's for sure.
And I have experienced that feeling drinking bottled water, but just sitting, it's a completely different feeling. When I drink the Water Revolution water, the bio water that I'm drinking right now, that's under my sink, it gets into and absorbed in my body immediately. I can feel it, and I have felt that bloated feeling with bottled water, and I've always like, what is that? How come it just sits there? It doesn't absorb into the body.
It has to do with this formation, and the lightness is directly related to the microclustering. The body's designed to drink a microclustered water. It's not designed to drink a tap water or a bottled water. And this becomes really apparent very quickly when you start drinking this Water Revolution water, because you can really see it, in how you feel, your energy level. Many people have, digestion issues that, if not fully correct, certainly bend a long way, in that right direction. So it's a very, very exciting thing. We'd love to work with you.
Awesome. Is this your last slide?
No, I have another slide that talks about our special.
Let's do it.
Is it too early to share that, or can I do that now?
Let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to offer everybody that's part of Dr. CJ's group a $100 discount on this Alka Purity system. And again, all that's required is that you get a hold of us before Monday. So you can either place an order online at Dr. CJ's website, which is www.drcjpurewater.com. I'll say it again. It's www.drcjpurewater.com. If you place an order there, if the $100 discount is not applied at checkout, it will be before the unit is shipped, and you'll get that credit back. Or what we really recommend is that you get a hold of us so that we can get photos of your kitchen. We can tell you, yes, this is going to be good. Yes, it'll be good, if you do this. I want to get a chance to talk to you about your individual installation, so that I can advise you properly on what you're likely to encounter. And 90% of the installations are very straightforward and very easy. But the 10% that are not, it's better if we know in advance, because then we can include those things that are usually at no extra charge that you'll need during the installation, just to make it easy on you. So somebody's not running around, back and forth to Lowe's or Home Depot. I know a lot of people on the phone have experienced that before, especially with plumbing, and I don't want that to happen. I want to make it as easy as possible. So is it okay if I give them our number as well?
Yes, I just put in the chat. It'll go into both Facebook and YouTube, the website, and then you're calling it. I loved what you had said earlier. You're calling it a pre-consultation. Is that right?
Or just a check-in with Kirk, to keep it simple, just to make sure that this system will ultimately be the right one for you. We've got different options. This is the best one we have, but we've got smaller, different options too, depending on what you've got going on.
Okay, so Kirk check-in, and then I'll put it in my in the chat, and then we'll include it when we send out anybody that has registered for the 5-day water fast. We'll send out an email with all of this information as well, along with all of my current tribe members. We'll send out an email. So the Kirk check-in is going to be a specific phone number.
It is, yeah. It's area code 336 525 1015. Is that the main line, or is that your mobile? That's the main line.
Okay.
And then once I get back to you and we talk, I can give you the cell phone. So if the people call me and we talk, they'll have my cell phone from that point forward.
Okay, so Kirk check-in 336-525-1015.
Yeah, this is likely to be up on the web somewhere, and I don't want to just throw my cell phone number out there for the whole world to have.
101. And so this main line is the line that is okay for us to use when we send the email out, or if we do any other postings between now and Monday?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so I've got it in the chat and the comments, and then we'll use that same number and that same link.
Yes, ma'am. And we don't necessarily answer on the weekends, but we do monitor it. So if somebody calls, we'll probably get right back to you.
Sure. Awesome.
Yes, ma'am. And we don't necessarily answer on the weekends, but we do monitor it.
Are you still there?
I did. Yeah, we got a little back. We got a little back feed somehow.
I think I had my Facebook. I was making sure that we were streaming okay to the Facebook group, and I accidentally hit my phone. Okay, so I just want everyone to know that I like I said, I've done so much research on this, and many of you know that this is the unit that I use. This is the water that I drink. I don't buy bottled water. We want to make a change, and I've talked so much to everyone about, you want to make a change, you want to have a positive influence in this world, on this planet. It all begins with you. It begins with the choices that you make on a daily basis. When you put food into your mouth, whatever you do with your body and your life on a daily basis, you're voting with those dollars that you're spending. So if you want things to be better, spend your money in companies that are making the world a better place. Don't spend your money buying bottled water. And I cannot believe the cost. I mean, it's less than $1,000. We're offering another $100 off of that. That reminds me briefly, because these are the questions that I have from my patients. Sure. Is they'll ask me, okay, so what's the cost? That everyone wants to know the cost, of course. Money is important. We want to make sure that we can afford it. What's the cost? And then what is the cost to maintain that unit with the replacement cartridges? And what do you think is the average cost that people are spending on bottled water? Or I know I've got some neighbors here that I want to convert that are having sparklets delivered. Can you address those two things?
Well, I have a good friend in California, and he was getting the water delivery. He's got a family of 6. He was spending, he told me, about $1,400 a year after the recent price increase to get that water delivered to that $1,400. Now, he's got a big household, and they were drinking a lot of water. So in less than 1 year, he's going to save all of that. And the ongoing maintenance, you have to figure a couple of $100 a year. The reason is There's a 4 cartridge replacement set that's $160 a year. If
Okay.
you buy it when it goes on sale. It goes on sale twice a year whenever the
Okay.
clocks change back and forth. So it's easy to
Okay.
remember.
That
And
is
you,
easy to
yeah,
remember.
and you get an email. And then also on the every 2 to 3 years, there's what we call a revitalized kit, which
Okay.
includes a membrane change out on top of the filters, plus a brand new water storage tank. Because if you don't do that, you wind up having to flush it with chlorine, and that can leave residual in there, and people don't want to do that. So we found it was just easier. So you essentially get the tank for free with the revitalized kit. So when you factor it all in, it's a couple $100 a year.
And that's what I just I had delivered to my home was the revitalized kit,
Mhm.
because I've had my unit. I think it's been about 3 years at this house, and so now it's time to replace everything. So I'm excited to get it all renewed and all
And when you
replaced.
do that, you really
Yeah.
have a brand new unit,
Oh, that's amazing.
which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So where are you going to get a deal like that? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
on my 11th iPhone right now, and I never got a deal. It's full price, full price. But with our
Yeah.
clientele, if people want a second unit or they have a family member, we usually give them some kind of a discount.
Nice.
When they buy.
Real quickly, pets. So I've always given my pets this purified water. And I've talked to some people and they're like, "Oh, I just give my dogs, my cats tap water." I'm like, "What? What are you doing? Why would you drink the purified water and then sit there and turn and give your animals water from the tap?"
Right, right. Well, we've got 6 cats that thankfully all live outside. We've got 4 dogs, 3 that are outside labs, and then we've got the baby in the house, which is a toy Manchester Terrier who's like a person for all intents and purposes. Every
Oh,
one of the animals drink the Water Revolution water,
right.
including back when we had the sheep and the goats, and we're kind of toned back at this point. When we had the horse, he drank the alkaline. And everybody drinks the alkaline
Wow.
water in our
Awesome.
house, and it really is the best way to go. And given a choice, these animals will always choose this water over the tap water. So if you doubt that, when you get the unit, you can test it and see, and
Okay.
and probably it will be the case for you also.
So I'm just going to open it up. I know we don't have a lot of people on the call early Friday morning, but if there's anybody that is on with us live right now, if you have any questions for Kirk before I let him go, because before I let him go, I want to make sure that if you have any questions, I know we have the phone number there, so call. You can go onto the website and look at all the different products. Mention again, Kirk, the because I know you have different filtration units, because my river house does not have the full unit that I have here at home, because it's already purified through the river and I didn't feel like I really needed that
Sure.
full system. So I think I have the revolutionizer at the river
Mhm.
house. So mention again the name of the unit that has the highest purification that you're recommending for people's drinking water, at least to start with, before we would look at, which is my next step, is I want to get the whole house unit.
Well, the unit that we recommend the most for drinking water, especially in any of the populated areas, is the Alka Purity HD. The Alka
Uh,
Purity family has 4 or 5 units in it, but the HD, like Harley Davidson, is the basic residential model, that we
okay.
recommend.
So I
And
put that in the chat as well.
Alka Purity HD,
Yep.
and you can see it on the website under products. Obviously, I could send additional photos if they call and talk to me and answer questions. And there's
Sure.
three different faucet finishes that we always carry in
Okay.
stock. One is the polished chrome. The other is the brushed nickel, which is the most popular finish now.
Yeah, that's what I have.
And then the oil rub bronze, which is the dark, one. And then if
Okay.
you want the gold or the white or these other things, we can get it, but we don't stock it, so it adds a few more days.
Okay.
And normally when they're ordered, they're shipped within a day or two. And if it's
Nice.
going all the way across the West Coast, you're going to be looking at about a 6-day UPS ground. It's a fairly large, 24-inch square box. So it's 24 by 24 by 24. I think it weighs almost 40 pounds, the whole
Yeah.
system. It's a pretty substantial thing. And boy, I tell you, once you get it installed and you start drinking the water, you'll be really glad that you have it.
Awesome. Well, I am so excited that have finally been able to bring you on and share this amazing water with my tribe, with all of the different people that are out there listening to me, doing my water fast, wanting to be healthier and live their better life. And I just can't think of anything more powerful than the water. You know, as you had said earlier, everything that I teach is about cellular health. You know, these are our cells. And most people come in when they first start working with me and their cells are dehydrated and they're inflamed because of the water that they're drinking, the stress that they're under, the food that they're eating. So a huge part of the measurements, the regular measurements that I look at when I'm following a person through my 12-month coaching program is we look at hydration. And
Very important.
my program, so all diets, and I'm not trying to put a plug in for my program, I just want to explain the water part of it, is all diets dehydrate you, slow your metabolism down, your water percentage goes lower. My program, because it's a health program, it's a cellular healing program, we are actually expecting, and we see when people are following it properly and staying connected with us and being accountable and supported, we see over time, and it takes a while, it doesn't happen overnight, but we see that water percentage in the body going up and up and up and up. And we know that that person's getting healthier and younger. They're having better energy. They're sleeping better, less joint pain, all of the things that water is so much a part of. And as you've mentioned several times, yes, the food's important too, but you have to have both. You have to have the pure food. You have to have the pure water. It's all about, you know, the Pura Vida, the pure life living. So I know I'll have you on again, Kirk. I can't thank you enough for the amount of time that you've spent with us today and the information that you've given us, and the fact that you're willing to give that discount to all of my clients, my members, anybody going through the fast. I really appreciate that. I know you didn't have to do that. In my mind, it's such a low price point anyway. Anybody that doesn't have this in their home, it's crazy. Anybody can figure out a way to, you know, afford something that's less than $1,000. If your car breaks down, you need a new transmission, you need brand new brakes all the way around or new tires, you come up with $1,000 that day. People can come
Absolutely.
up with $1,000. What is more important, maintaining our car that we can replace over and over and over again, like those iPhones, or our, this is the only body we get. We don't get another one. This is it. So,
It's so important, and I love
yeah,
that. You know, you talked about that in your intro video, and that was so well done. You know, about how people will, you know, spend a fortune on an exotic car or whatever,
yeah,
and you know, would you put the premium gasoline? You know, and the answer, of course, is yes. I have a nice car that we put premium gas into, and it's getting expensive. Even in North
yes.
Carolina, it's not like it is in California, but
Oh,
it's getting
yeah.
expensive here in North Carolina.
What's the price of gas in North
I think the
Carolina?
premium is about 375.
Oh, yeah, we're up into 450, close to $5 right now for
Yep.
premium in
Yep.
California.
Yep. And so, you know, would you put the premium water in your body? And the answer is, of course, yes. So, and
Yes,
not only will
absolutely.
you save money with this system, but you're
Yeah,
going to feel so much better. You're going to, your whole life is going to change. And we
yeah,
hear this over and over again, you know, from our clients
yes.
that just love it.
Yeah, it's such a no-brainer. You're amazing. Thank you for what you do.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for caring. Thank you for continuing on this journey. And I look forward to continuing to work with you and promoting, you know, the products that you guys carry, because I believe so wholeheartedly in what you're doing, and that the products are just of extreme value for anybody that wants to, you know, live their best life. So do you have
Yeah.
any closing comments before I go on with my fasting regimen?
Just to say that I look forward to speaking with you. Give us a call this weekend. We're happy to chat.
Okay.
Next time we get together, I'll show you our brand new point of entry whole house system that
Oh,
we call
sweet.
Helix Home, which is a
Okay.
phenomenal system.
So maybe we can do something like that to my private tribe group. We can do an introduction of
That
that.
would be great. Yeah, we look forward to it.
Awesome. All right, Kirk, we'll have an amazing Friday. Have an amazing weekend. I'm going to stay on, everybody, but let's say goodbye to Kirk. Anybody have any questions before he leaves? Going once, going twice. And you can also contact me if you have questions as well. And everybody knows how to contact me. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so
Sounds
much,
great.
Kirk.
Thanks a lot, Dr. CJ. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate all your
Take
time.
care, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Oh my gosh. So amazing. I'm so excited that I finally have been able to introduce to all of you this water purification unit and the process and what I use and the water that I drink that my dog drinks. And this is the water that I've been recommending to my patients and clients since I started using this water myself in 2014. So the last 7 years. And I honestly continue to do research with different companies. I go to different trainings and conferences and listen to different doctors and healthcare practitioners talk about different companies. And I have not found anyone that goes through the stages that this product goes through. So I can't say enough about it. Okay, so I want to just very briefly, I know we've been on the call now for about an hour, so just very briefly, just first of all, let you know that I will be going live tomorrow to cover how to break the fast. So if you're on the call right now, please let me know, where are you in the water fast? What day are you on? Are you participating in the water fast? Or are you just learning and listening and opening up your mind so that you can get yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually prepared for the next time we do a water fast, which will be the first week in October. And then I'm sure most definitely we will also do it next January. And then I'll let you know if I decide to do it every quarter next year. But for right now, we're doing it every quarter this year. We're getting our immune systems back. We're taking control and power over our lives and over our health. And we're not giving in to fear. Marianne Williamson said, what holds us back in our life is fear. And sometimes when you take a very close look, you find out that your fears aren't exactly what you thought they were. Our deepest fear is not that we are our deepest fear is not that we are, oh my gosh, this is what happens when I'm under pressure on the video camera. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? But actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in all of us. And as we let our own light shine, we subconsciously give other people permission to do the same. And as we are um, as we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So it's holy work to move past your own fear. It's not just about you, it's about the world. That's Marianne Williamson. I've been listening to that saying, or um, that paragraph of truth on an almost daily basis since 2014. 2014 was a huge turning point in my life, and in many, many ways. I ended a close to 7-year relationship at that time. I decided not to practice chiropractic any longer. I went on this health and wellness and transformation journey that I've continued on since that point, that has brought me to where I am today. So in 2014, I started listening to that passage every single day. And because of that, I've memorized it. And don't let your fear get in the way. There's either fear or love. If you're in fear, you're not in love. If you're in love with life, in love with those around you, in love with you first, there can be no fear. So I ask you to check in on a daily basis with your emotions, how you're feeling. How you're feeling is an indication and a guidance system that tells you how connected you are and how on path you are, how in line you are with your purpose, your mission, and who you really are. If you're feeling happy and joyous, then you're on the right path. And you're tuned in to your true inner self. You're tuned in to that innate wisdom, that innate power, the God in you, the source, the innate intelligence, the universal energy that created you. If you're sad, if you're depressed, if you're out of sorts, if you're angry, that means you're not in tune, you're not aligned, you're not vibrating at the same frequency as your real self. Your true self is that inner being, that spirit part of you that lives forever. So you can use your emotions as a guidance system to determine if you're on track or not. So I encourage you today on day 5, how are you feeling? Are you feeling happy, joyous? If you are, then you're on the right track. And if you're on day 5 of this water fast, because that's why there's so many different spiritual aspects of water fasting, and Kirk talked about the spiritual aspects of water. I think that's amazing. If you're on day 5 of this water fast, it has changed you spiritually. It has changed your emotions. When you clean out all that junk and you give your body the time and the space to just be, the natural outcome is joy, gratitude, happiness, energy. There's just a sense of peace. There's a sense of well-being. That's a natural part of who we are. And if you're not experiencing that on a regular basis, I highly encourage you, reach out to me. I can help coach you. My Men and Women of Iron program has helped me tremendously get to a point where I am on a daily basis feeling joy, gratitude, and bliss, because on a daily basis, I am taking care of the 4 parts of who I am: my body, my mind, my heart, and my spirit. And this Men and Women of Iron program has given me the tools to stay in alignment with who I really am, to figure out what it is that I value. What do you value? There's 2 big circles. There's how you're actually living your life, the reality of your life, and this is what you believe to be true and what is important to you. If there is no overlap whatsoever, if there's a gap between how you're living your life, but what you believe to be the way you should be living your life, that gap, the wider that gap, the more frustration, the more anger, the more depression, the less energy you have. The more there's an overlap, and it can't be perfect unless you're a saint, right? Once you're a saint or an angel or an ascended being, then you have a perfect overlap between who you know you are and how you're actually living your life on a daily basis. So we want there to be an overlap. We don't want there to be any gap. There needs to be at least some part of how you're living your life overlapping with what you know to be true and what your beliefs are. So if you believe that honesty and love and integrity and working hard is important, but you're depressed and angry and yelling at your dog and cheating to make money because you feel like you have to support your family, there's a gap and you are not a happy person. So the closer we can overlap those things, the happier you'll be. So water fasting is a part of that. Water fasting is a part of cleaning out your body. So it's day 5. Yay, you made it. So I'm going off my guide right now. If you registered for this fast and clicked on the link, you received the 5-day water fast guide. My contact information is on the back with my cell number and our website. So if you want to schedule a discovery call or a consultation, or if you're a client of mine, I highly encourage you to schedule an advanced nutritional consultation. If you've been with me for at least 6 months to 12 months, it's time to take a look at heavy metals, blood work, hair, urine, testing, etc. So day 5 of the water fast, yay, you've made it. Hopefully you're feeling amazing at this point. Now is not the time to quit or binge on food. Tomorrow morning, I'm not sure if I'm going to go. I feel like I have more people watching later in the day. So I think I'm going to, I go into the clinic tomorrow and I've got some advanced nutritional consults scheduled. I've got a new client coming in. So tomorrow I'm going to go ahead and go live closer to noon, try and get a little bit more activity, more people here watching live. So tomorrow I will teach you how to break the fast. So if you are at a point where you feel like your body's telling you it's time to break the fast, please make sure you read the guide or reach out to me to make sure that you're breaking the fast properly. Somebody just said they're on day 4. Thanks for all the information on the water filtration. You're welcome. So day 5, do not break the fast improperly. It's more important how you break the fast than the actual fast. We need to be very slow and low with food, calories, and how to break the fast. Right now, though, I just want to briefly cover what are all the amazing things that are happening in your body. Stem cells. Coach Teresa has talked about this several times, and I've been talking about it every single day. Stem cells are in high gear today. Any bad white blood cells in your immune system have been eaten up by autophagy, autophagy. And now you have brand new immune cells that are being made. Wow. Studies have determined that a 5-day water fast can regenerate up to 30% of your immune system. That's powerful. You'll experience massive growth hormone benefits today. Day 5, your highest level of human growth hormone. It has been steadily rising since day 3. This puts you in a healing mode that lasts for days after the fast, as long as you break the fast properly. So I'm going to teach you tomorrow how to break the fast. And I'm also going to teach you tomorrow how, even with eating, to stay in autophagy. Would that be valuable to you? Would you love to stay in autophagy for maybe another week, 2 weeks? I can teach you how to stay in autophagy by breaking the fast properly and what you're eating, how much you're eating for at least another week. And that brings me to something that I keep forgetting to talk about. We have in our clinics available, my clients know this, and if you're not a client, reach out. We have Dr. Walter Longo, who's done so many of the studies on fasting and fasting mimicking out of the USC Longevity Center, has developed a product that we carry in our clinic. The professional kit can only be purchased by a physician that is connected with the Pro Loan Company. So we have a 5-day fasting mimicking kit, plant-based. Day 1's in a little box. Day 2, it's a no-brainer. There's soups, olives, protein bars, all these amazing foods that you get to eat. But when you eat these foods over the 5-day period, it's fasting mimicking. So it's the exact ratio of fats, proteins, and carbs to keep you in autophagy. You'll continue to get the same benefits in your body, everything that we've talked about. Stem cells, autophagy, ketones, energy diversion, hormone optimization, healing the gut, resetting the DNA, but you get to eat. So it is actually a perfect way to go from a 5-day water fast into the professional Prolone 5-day fasting mimicking plant-based eating kit. We have those available in our clinic. Reach out to me, post in the comment section. We will be in the clinic tomorrow from 9 until probably close to 1 o'clock. The clinic number that you can call and purchase the Prolone kit is 562, Lakewood Clinic tomorrow, 562-920-8200. 2227. If you're in the area, you can pick that Prolone kit up. If you're a client of mine, you can pick it up. If you're not a client of mine, call the number and we can have the Prolone kit shipped out to you immediately. We can even call the company and they can ship it directly to you. And depending on where you're at, you'll get it in 1 to 2 days. Normally, they're actually out of Beverly Hills. Prolone kit. And we have the professional model, which is completely gluten-free, allergy-free. You can only purchase the professional model through a physician that carries Prolone. So call, that's the Lakewood Clinic. I'm posting that right now. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you use the Prolone kit over the next 5 days as soon as you decide to break the fast. So at this point, day 5, you'll be depending on how you're feeling, you might want to consider extending the fast. So if you're feeling good, keep going. Listen to your body. Use your tongue. If your tongue is still coated, keep going. If you still have good energy, keep going. There's no reason to break the fast unless you get to a point where you start getting hungry, your energy starts dropping, or your tongue clears. Those are all indications that it's time to break the fast. But if you're feeling good, keep going and I will support you. Reach out to me. If you decide to extend the fast, keep going until you're hungry. When you start noticing feelings of hunger, then break the fast. It is not recommended to extend without proper supervision. So when you break the fast, I'm going to cover that tomorrow. So anybody that's watching right now, do you have any questions or comments before I go? Please, if you're just now seeing this live, the first 45 minutes, I interviewed Kirk Phinney from Water Revolution. I cannot stress upon you enough how important it is to go back and watch the beginning of this video. You need to learn about the water that you're putting into your body, and there is not a better water purification product on the market, a more affordable water purification system on the market than the water products, the water purification products that I carry through my website, through Water Revolution. I posted in the comments my Water Revolution website. Please call Kirk or his wife Kathy and take pictures of your kitchen and let them walk you through to make sure that before you purchase the purification unit, I want every single person hearing this message, whether live or listening to it after the fact, you need to buy an under-counter water purification system. And if you're in an apartment, they have a smaller unit, which is amazing and excellent, that just sits right on top, that you can just hook right up to the existing faucet. So if you're not in your home that you own, there's many options available. Please call them. Please reach out to me. Water is so important. We need to make a change. We need to stop buying bottled plastic water. So I'm going to end it with that. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy day 5 of the water fast. I look forward to meeting with everybody tomorrow and teaching you how to break the fast properly, or how to extend the fast properly, or how to go from the water fast into the Prolone kit. Do I have any questions before I go? Let me just check the comments briefly. Please mail the Prolone kit to me. It says Facebook user, so you haven't given StreamYard permission. Please tell me who that is so that we can mail the Prolone kit to you. Who is that before I go? Please type in the comments who you are. It shows up as a Facebook user. StreamYard does not allow us to see your name unless you give StreamYard permission for us to see your name. So I'm using a software called StreamYard that allows me to post live videos into multiple locations at one time. So whoever just said that, please, oh, it's Dana. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Dana. Yes, we will ship out a Prolone kit to you. I will contact my staff and we'll get that shipped out to you immediately. Any other questions before I go? Going once, going twice. Happy Friday. Congratulations. I'm so happy that all of you are on this journey with us. If you watch after the fact and it's not live, please post in the comments. Those comments come directly to me and my team, and I want to know that you're involved. I want to know where you're at. I want to know how I can love and support you. Okay? And you can also go into my website at any point, and I will just post that in the comments quickly. If you want to schedule a discovery call, if you're not a client, or if you are a client and you're ready to take your health to the next level, if you're ready to up level, if you're ready for even deeper transformation, I want you to schedule an advanced nutritional consultation. If you're a current client, we do not charge for that consultation. If you're not a current client, I don't ever start anybody with that. We always start with an initial wellness consultation, and we talk to you about our 12-month coaching program, because we have to teach you how to eat and how to get into fat burning before we can go into any more advanced testing. So Kirk just posted, love your teachings, amazing. All right, everybody, peace out. This is Dr. CJ Benkert with Pura Vida Wellness, encouraging you, teaching you, guiding you, motivating you, inspiring you, hopefully, to live your purest life, your most Pura Vida, purest, fulfilled, vital life in body, mind, heart, and spirit. Peace and love to all of you, and I will see you tomorrow around noon.